and welcome to another Stata video. My name is Stefan Eriksson, and today we're going to be talking about how to standardize your variables in Stata. And as you can see on the screen here, I already got Stata open and ready to run. So what we're going to do first is, besides setting our directory and just clearing out whatever we would have in there, we will set in the dataset we're going to be using today. And we're just going to use the automobile dataset that everybody can find in Stata. So all we have to do is simply write sysuse auto, and then we have a nice little practice dataset from which we can try to see how we standardize our variables. But why would you standardize variables in the first place? What's happening? You're actually subtracting the mean and divided by its standard deviation, such that each value now represents how far it is in standard deviations away from its mean. That means a value for a given observation with 1 would be 1 standard deviation away, where -1 would be -1 standard deviation away, or a half would be half away, and so forth. But why would you even do it? Well, sometimes you just want to add up scores so they're similar, or you make interpretation and say a regression analysis a lot easier if you would use these variables in a regression. So that's something you can make everything comparable. So it's something that is very neat to do. Others, instead of calling it a standardized score, also note this as a C-score or simply just a standardized score in general, right? So there's many ways to say this, but I'm going to be showing you 2 ways here. So first of all, we're just going to summarize the price variable because we're just going to take the first one we have in the data set. So I want to, based on these observations here, generate a new variable, which is the standardized versions of price. So the first version is just going to use gen. If you're not familiar with gen or what I'm going to use later, egen, then I have a video on it. So just go check it out. Check it out if you want to, of course. So we generate a new variable. We call price, say, std1, so standard deviation 1. We're going to represent it as, in this case here, we want to subtract the mean from price. So we take price minus, and now we can see what the mean is. It's 6,665. We're just going to say .257. We need to then divide all this here by the standard deviation, which is 2,949.496. We can then just run this code and, well, see if it works. Now, this here should now represent a variable which has been standardized. So to get a good view of this, let's summarize both now price and our new price standard deviation 1 variable. So let's try that. Let's see how they look. And you notice, first of all, that indeed, there's a standard deviation 1 now. And where you say, but the mean is not 0, this is as good as 0. You can see this is a very small number, and this is simply just due to rounding. So no worries there. So it is accomplished. The second version is straightforward using egen, because the first version here, you have to read off and write off variables like that. That's too much work. So we can do it even easier by saying we want to egen price std2 in this case. And now I want to use a function used as there's simply just a standard deviation function in here, or a standardization function, sorry, where we're trying to standardize price. So all it comes down to is egen price underscore std2 equals to std and parentheses price. We run the code. Yay, it ran, so that's good. I don't want to see red code when I'm filming this. That would be unfortunate. And then we can simply go now and summarize all of them next to each other. So price std1 and price std2, and see, well, how do they look like? Let's check it out. We see indeed here they have standard deviation 1, both of them, and we notice that the mean is as well as 0. But you may notice this is not exactly the same number, but this just comes down to rounding in Stata. The difference between that we only used 3 decimals up in the first version, and when they use the function here, they use all available decimals. So it's just a decimal change. So this here would sum up how we would do standardization in Stata. I hope it's useful to you, and I hope to see you back for another class here in Stefan's classroom. Have a great day.